And I don't know. I'm not sure.
I've been preparing these itineraries, or assisting in preparing these itineraries that say 701, brush your teeth, 702, put on your tie, 703, somebody picks you up, and the whole day is just sort of program. And this morning, they came and handed me one of those. And it said 701, brush your teeth, and so forth and so on. We started off the morning in North York at local 183 with... shape than I am, so it was a great event. Now there was one thing about it, and it sort of follows through the rest of the day. I didn't get to eat there. I didn't get to eat. They were serving Portuguese custards and you know, all kinds of danishes and muffins, so I didn't get to eat there. We then went to Etobicoke to the Apache Burger place, which is an institution in I was taught there how to dress burgers for the patrons. I was taught how to wrap burgers properly for the patrons. However, there was no time set aside in the itinerary for me to eat a hamburger. And so there's two things they didn't make allowances for today. I wasn't allowed to eat, and there was just one other thing I won't mention they didn't allow me for either. We then went this afternoon to the Ehong Wellness Center in Scarborough. It was a wonderful place, and I was greeted there with just incredible warmth by senior citizens who live there, and it is a place you should all see at some point in time. It's a miracle. But it's been a great day, and what we've tried to do is to take the campaign right across the city. We had the final event of the day, of course, here in downtown Toronto. Bucky's been out and about across the city all day, and it's just been great. We're trying to take the message that this campaign is about a mayor from all of the city. We're not going to ask people to come in buses downtown to see us. We're going to go out and see them. There are just a couple of people I want to mention, first, my father is here somewhere. I saw him on the way, so I know he didn't, because I kept asking downstairs if he was here. My sister, I can see right in front of me because she's tall, and I'm just delighted that they're here. My father keeps asking me if I know any idea what it is I'm doing, and this is the first political meeting I think he's been out to. And then over here, of course, is my own. I see Barbara, and I've taken the spirit of the kids. I don't know they're back there. My 4 children are all here. Barbara and I are here with John, Christopher. University, and so this is time taken away from studying, which I know, of course, they're doing each and every day, all day. They agreed to put in extra time tonight after this meeting is finished. The second person that I want to mention is Rocco Ross. Where's Rocco? Because they introduced all the co-chairs. Which is actually a pretty easy job. There are a lot of meetings and so on. He has the misfortune to be the campaign manager, and he's a person we're really lucky to have. He's an interesting person. You should meet him and talk to him. He's going to do a fantastic job. Finally, I want to just pay a word of tribute to the volunteers who organized this day. You know, it's one of those things when you do get handed those itineraries that say 7:01, brush your teeth, 7:02, etc., even though you don't get to eat all day, you do have an understanding of how much work goes into organizing a day like this. And 99% of it is done by volunteers, people who are committed to this campaign and committed to helping me, and I'm incredibly grateful to them for what I think that could only be described as a very successful day, so I want to say thank you to each and every one. Thank you to all of you for coming here tonight as well. Obviously, it's an overwhelming turnout, and I'm most grateful, and it fills me with enthusiasm and hope for what we want to do in the days ahead. And I want to, as well, thank the incredible group you've just met up here who have agreed to do me the honor of serving as co-chairs of my campaign. And you should know that I'm well aware of the fact that with these people, this is a two-way contract. They are not just here to say nice things about me, although that is okay. If some of them wanted to, it's fine. They can come up and do that. But they also, in all seriousness, expect me to roll up my sleeves and to join them in all of their particular passions in their communities, whether it's multicultural, educational, or community athletics for our Olympians. And I promise you, Marnie, there you are. There will be swimmers in those pools. They are not. We're here tonight because we all know that the city is in decline and that Toronto deserves better. Today, we are at the crossroads of optimism and decline. We have to decide whether we are satisfied with a city that is just good enough or take the high road and get the city back on track towards the greatness that lay before us a number of years ago. And that is why I'm standing in front of you tonight saying that I want to be elected the mayor of this city. Absolutely committed to making this one of the most livable cities in the world. You all know what the world knows, that we are the only city on the planet where more than 100 races and tongues live in harmony. Whether we are from Hong Kong or Huddersfield, Soweto, the Azores, Calabria, or Mumbai, we are all immigrants in this city, whether we were born here or arrived last week. And our shared task is to make sure this remains the city of hope and of opportunity. When I announced my candidacy on February 7th, I said that I thought people deserve better from their city government in this city, and I offered my fresh perspective and my proven credentials to help get this city back on track. The decline so evident in our city has been the result not so much of bad decisions as of no decisions. We'd win first prize for never-ending debates, studies, and referrals of all kinds. As I travel around our city speaking with people, all of the heads in the room nod when I talk about the decline and suggest that expectations of our city government seem to have declined along with the city itself. And they nod just as vigorously when I suggest that our expectations should be raised, not lowered, and that new leadership, stronger leadership, will be needed if we're going to get the city government working better. Vision and real strong Toronto deserves better than a city government that is constantly quarreling with Queen's Park, Ottawa, and with our neighbours. We need a mayor who can defend and advance our interests in partnership with those governments. Toronto deserves better than a city government that too often defers, sidesteps, postpones, or otherwise just doesn't deal with important decisions. We need a mayor who will seek consensus wherever possible, but act decisively when action is required. Toronto deserves better than the traffic gridlock that is overtaking our city at the same time as our public transit system is starved for cash. Toronto deserves better than the dirty streets which it seems we have just allowed to happen. Toronto deserves better than the divisions, the confrontations, and the lack of transparency that seem to characterize the city government. If we are going to deliver something better for the people and the city, I think it all starts with Torontonians having a certain degree of trust and confidence that the city knows what it's doing. How can we expect the wholehearted support of other governments, of business, or for that matter of average citizens, if the effectiveness of the city government itself is in doubt? That is why my inaugural speech as mayor will place at the top of the agenda a program to ensure accountability and transparency at City Hall. Simply put, elected officials, key staff, and important processes must be held to the highest standards of conduct and openness, and the tools must be in place to meet this standard. Hear, hear. Within 90 days of taking office, I will insist that all lobbyists be registered and sign in with their cause and every point of contact with councillors and with staff. Council could do that right now, including a request for the necessary provincial legislation, and I would urge them to do so. Working with the council, I would immediately authorize the City Auditor General to begin to conduct spot audits without notice in any department of the city government. And within that same 90 days, a code of conduct will be put in place, a proper code of conduct, to make it clear that neither improper hospitality nor gifts from Tiffany's are acceptable bounds for people within the city government. These are but a few elements of a comprehensive integrity, transparency, and accountability package which I will propose during this campaign. And I will put it forward because it's the right thing to do, and because the citizens of this city have the right to expect a new deal from their government and from the people who make it up. We must be able to feel safe and secure in our city. It is what has set us apart from many other places and must continue to do so. We must ensure that increased funding for our police services go to putting more police on the streets, neighborhood by neighborhood. Violence and gun gunplay have no place in our city. service, our police service can and must serve and protect all of our communities. They must be seen as friends and brothers and sisters to us all. The badge should see no color or religion. And I look forward to working with Chief Julian Fantino and the men and women in uniform who just do such an excellent job for us day in and day out to make absolutely sure that this is the case. Our schools, they must be alive with the sound of music and theater and after-school activities, and the swimming pools must be must be open and filled with swimmers and not closed and filled with concrete. Surely, a city that sees itself as better than just good enough can't simply sit back and admit defeat when the schools we have paid for charge rent that force after-school groups, homework clubs, and Boy Scout groups out of those buildings, or when inadequate school funding leads for a call for pools to be shut down. Toronto deserves much better than this. I will be deeply committed to making this one of the most livable cities in the world. Sleeping bags and emergency shelters do not qualify as proper or acceptable homes for people. Spare change cups will not be people's entry-level jobs. Toronto deserves much better than this. Several weeks ago, I spoke about the crucial need for more affordable housing. It is one of the keys to addressing homelessness and hunger, which are problems that are much more widespread in the city than any of us would want to admit. This means reducing red tape so that new rental housing projects can get approved faster. And it means pressing the provincial government to keep a promise they made in 1995 to introduce a shelter subsidy. It means taking public land, now owned by all three levels of government, and actually getting some rental housing built now on land that otherwise The state of economic and tourism development activities in this city is unacceptable. Toronto is the only major city in North America to actually see a decline in the number of visitors to our city in the last number of years. We are losing out on investment and on jobs. I support a hotel levy to generate new funds to market this city. The provincial sales tax is 8%. The tax on hotel rooms is 5%. The hotel owners in Toronto have endorsed putting the extra 3% on hotel bills in Toronto and using the millions of dollars it generates to get back in the game and compete with cities like Montreal and Vancouver and Chicago that are out there marketing themselves each and every day. This is one important element in the New Deal which simply must be negotiated between the City of Toronto and the provincial and federal governments. The status quo just won't do. Toronto is the economic engine of Canada. It is the place chosen as home by more than half the newcomers to this country, and it needs and it deserves a better deal. Last year, I was asked to be one of the 4 chairs of the Toronto City Summit. It was a mind-opening adventure explaining the city's issues and solutions, and it became clear there were many more issues than answers, so we pressed on with a year-round exercise that got a multitude of talents and experiences to help us come up with solutions. And up until a few weeks ago, I had to resign because I became a candidate for mayor. I was an active member of what's come to be called the Toronto City Summit Alliance. I know they're going to come out with a detailed plan in the next couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to it, and I applaud David Tico and his entire team. People outside Toronto say the other government shouldn't do anything more for this city. They say we have everything. Well, they're right. But along with a multinational and multicultural miracle, a rich and vibrant cultural life, and many other assets, we also have an affordable housing crisis. We have a transportation and transit series of challenges that result from millions of people living in a very small, relatively small area. And we have the special needs that arise when immigrants and refugees stream to this city by choice. So indeed, we do have everything here, including a number of challenges and things like that other cities in Ontario and Canada simply don't have. And that is why we must achieve a new deal with the other levels of government. I am totally committed to achieving a new deal with these other governments from day one as mayor. Perhaps it's my background as a lawyer, but I call the agreements I want to see put in place contracts, whether on housing, on transit, or social services, just to name a few. A contract spells out what you're going to do, and it means you are committed to doing it. The New Deal is as much about securing the participation and the partnership of the other levels of government on these issues as it is about money. Between them, the province and the federal government take $10 billion a year more out of Toronto than they put back in programs and services. We have never objected in this city to paying more than our fair share, but we simply cannot be reduced to begging to meet our own needs at a time when this city produces 20% of the entire wealth of the whole country. You know, when they argue about money and point fingers at each other, it's almost as if the governments haven't figured out something the taxpayers figured out a long time ago. Regardless of which level of government is doing the collecting, it is all funded by one taxpayer. And the Toronto taxpayers are simply saying this: give us back a fair share of our money we send you so it can be reinvested in keeping this community strong, making sure we remain the economic engine of Ontario and of Canada, and maintaining a strong social fabric which is so integral to our economic success. So a new deal is a crucial priority. If we want to achieve it, we have a choice. We can decide to stick with the status quo, complete with the endless bickering and episodes of the blame game we've all seen, or we can opt for new leadership committed to bringing about the new deal. I believe my experience working with governments at all levels, managing large and complex organizations, and negotiating deals will enable us to get that job done. I believe a fresh perspective, a new approach, someone not burdened by the mindset of incumbency, will be important to achieving the New Deal. I am not a career politician. I am a business leader and a community activist, and that means my first focus is on getting things done, not citing the reasons why they haven't been done or can't be done. This New Deal must also recognize the size and sophistication of this city and its government, and get the province to acknowledge that and to give us some latitude to build a stronger city without having to get a note from Daddy anytime we want to do something that makes sense. The achievement of this New Deal requires the will to get it done and to get it done now. The energy and the persistence to keep at it until it's done, and the open mind and the open heart that is needed anytime you sit down to do a deal. As Mayor of Toronto, I will be providing the will, I will be providing the energy, the persistence, as well as the open heart and the open mind. But we will need help. We will need the help of every single city councillor to get behind this process and make it work. To get behind this process, every one of them, and make it work. And we will need to mobilize the dozens of MPs and MPPs who are elected first and foremost to serve the people of the respective areas of the city which they represent. Often, they find themselves caught up in the supposedly bigger issues of the day at Queen's Park and in Ottawa. And it is up to them, up to us, to remind them of their responsibility to the residents of this city and to work with them to achieve our shared goals. The same is true of neighbouring governments in the GTA. Many days it seems as if we are competing with them, and to a certain extent I suppose we are. But we have many interests in common. And just think of how much we could get done if John Tory, Hazel McCallion, Susan Fennell from Brampton, Bill Bell from Richmond Hill, Don Cousins from Markham, and a host of others all showed up at Queen's Park together with a common agenda to get something done. Two things in this juncture of the speech. The first is that I have mentioned Brampton, Mr. Davis, wherever you are. I'm sure that you've probably mentioned Brampton. I've now mentioned it 3 times, which qualifies for his old test for one of his own speeches, and so I've done that. Second, the thought of showing up at Queen's Park with Hazel McCallion, boy, I'd be scared if I was running for mayor because I have a passion for the city born not only out of spending my entire life here, but also born out of 30 years of community activity. Activity which has given me a feel for the challenges and the problems, but perhaps more importantly, a feel for just how special this city is and how tragic it would be if we don't get it back on track. Pundits and commentators talk about who John Tory is. I would suggest you might ask the people from the dozens and dozens of organizations I have served in this community as a volunteer, from the United Way to the Toronto Association for Community Living, from St. Michael's Hospital to the Canadian Football. I think people will say that I brought to every task I took on the cool head necessary to plan, to manage, to handle big challenges, to make big decisions, and to get things done, together with a warm heart. I genuinely enjoy working with other people, building effective teams, and finding ways to achieve greater strength and equity in our community. I believe that someone with a cool head and a warm heart can make this city work again. We were once the big city that had all of the big city benefits and very few of the problems. And we have to get there again. That brings me to my most important point of all. Let me tell you why we chose to meet in this building, to give you a glimpse of my vision for Toronto, not Toronto good enough, but for Toronto the great. 152 years ago, St. Lawrence Hall, this very hall, heard Frederick Douglass, the great African-American orator, talk about his dreams for the abolition of slavery. Impossible, said some. Too hard, said others. But they didn't count on Abraham Lincoln. A few years later, the Fathers of Confederation sat in this very hall and discussed their dream for a great country called Canada. Risky business, said some. Very complicated, said others. But they didn't count on Sir John A. Macdonald. The hall itself fell into severe decline, and there was lots of talk of demolishing it in the 1950s. But people rallied around, and all three levels of government made the restoration a centennial project for 1967. Another hopeless dream, said some. Tough sell, said others. But they didn't count on the people of Toronto, and they didn't count on the fact that in that case, the three governments actually got together and actually found a way to get the job done. So here we are now, standing in this jewel box at the crossroads for Toronto. We are where we live. I know in my heart, and I hear it repeated each and every day as I travel to every corner of this city. People are not prepared to accept Toronto the good enough. They know they deserve better, and they know that Toronto deserves better. It will be difficult and challenging work. But no one should underestimate the passion and the determination of John Tory. That's why I want to be mayor. So we have a job to do. We have a city to grow. Let's do it together, you and me. Thank you very much.
Toronto.